All right, well, welcome to this session. Thank you, Zach. All right, so first, to introduce myself, my name is Eliza. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the camp director of Camp Wawayanda, Mustang, and Durango. Some fun facts about me. I grew up in Montclair, New Jersey. I was actually born in Miami, but that's where I grew up in New Jersey. I love summer camp. I've been coming ever since I was 8 years old as a camper, and I've been around ever since. So it's one of my favorite things in the world. My favorite fruit is a banana. I eat a banana almost every day. It's very rare that I don't eat a banana in a day because I love them so much. And when I was a camper at camp, when I was 10 years old, I won a smelliest shoe contest. And I was so excited to tell my parents about it when I got home, and they were not as excited as I was that I won it. So they always joke about that even still, and it's been a long time. And then the last fact about me is that for all of my campers on this call, you'll see me all summer long. I'll be at meals and I'll be walking around camp. And I'm a person that you can always ask for help, just like all of your other counselors and all of our other staff that are around. And then for my parents and guardians and caregivers at home, I'm also a person that you can reach out to. I have 2 more assistant directors that will join me for the summer to help with communication for all of you and for supporting our campers and supporting our staff while they're here. But we're kind of the connection between everybody. And so if you're a camper and you have a really urgent message that you want to get home, or the same thing for parents and guardians, if you have a message you want to get to your camper, you can always reach out to me and I can help translate that information, or I can help give an update on anybody if you're wondering how people are doing in either place so that you don't have to be too disconnected from your other people in your life. And then my email and phone number are on here as well. If you want to take a picture of it, it'll also be at the end of this slideshow. It's also on our website. So no worries if you miss it here, but I just wanted to add it again in case anybody wants to take a picture there. Awesome. So just like we were talking about before, I would love for this to be a time for some of you to be able to meet other people that are coming this summer. And so if you want to share a fact about yourself or tell us what session you're coming to camp, we would love to meet each other and to get to know who's going to be here this summer. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box if you'd like. Awesome. So tonight in this slideshow and in the session overall, we're going to talk a little bit about the schedule of camp, the activities we do, and the daily routine. We will talk about how to pack for summer camp and what you should pack it all in. And then we'll talk about how to make the most out of your time while you're here and what you can do to have a really fun time at summer camp. And then last but not least, we'll answer any questions that people still have after. So just to start with a routine of what a day in the life of a summer camper looks like. This is sort of a rough time schedule of what we do at camp. You don't have to memorize this at all. You'll go everywhere with your counselors this summer. They'll take you from place to place and show you when you're going, where you're going and when you're going to go there. So you don't have to memorize your own schedule. But if you like to know what the day looks like, this is a good schedule to look at. So for me, I love knowing when my meals are coming. So we eat breakfast at 8, we eat lunch at noon, and we eat dinner at 5:30. And then during the other parts of the day, we do activities or we have free time, or we will get ready for the morning or the night or take showers and things like that. So to kind of walk through what those parts of the day look like, let's start with the activities that we do. So we have 5 different activity blocks in each day. One of those activities is called a choice period. The other is waterfront. Then we have specialty period, creative program, and evening program. So I'm going to explain what all of these periods are in this next slide. So first, for a choice period, this is the time in the day where you get to pick whatever activity you feel like doing. So we'll give you maybe 3 or 4 options. You'll pick the option that you feel like doing at that moment, and then you can go there with that counselor. Some examples are things like hiking or Zumba or gardening or going in the creek, or painting a picture, or doing tie-dye, or having a Gaga tournament. But we'll change the options every day, so you can pick the one that you're most excited about. Next, we go to the waterfront every day. The waterfront's one of my favorite parts of the day. We go swimming, or you can go boating, you could play on the beach, or again, you could play Gaga. We have Gaga there as well. So you get to pick what you want to do during that period of the day. We do take a swim check at the beginning of the summer, just to make sure that you feel comfortable swimming, or to decide kind of how deep you might feel comfortable swimming in the lake. But you don't have to be an expert swimmer. There's options for everybody, whether you don't like swimming at all or whether you feel really strong as a swimmer. So the swim check is just to determine what you feel safe doing. Next, we have specialties. This is a period that you also choose, but the way that this one works is you'll choose one activity to do for the first week and then another activity to do for the second week, and you'll go to that every day. So specialties might be pottery or dancing or survival skills or theater. And the goal of this period is that you learn how to do something cool, or maybe something that you've never tried before. So you can pick the one, again, that you're most excited about, or maybe that you already know you like to do. And then next we have a creative program. This is similar to evening program as well. And both of these are really special parts of the day because they're when we do our really goofy, silly camp games, things that you might not get to do outside of camp that feel really special to us. We love to do things like giant capture the flag, or a game called French Revolution, where we dress up in all black at night and crawl through the woods in the dark to look for something special hidden in the woods. All sorts of kind of goofy games that we come up with like that. And if you have any cool ideas for a game too, you should definitely bring them to camp and tell your counselors, because we love to try to do as many new things as possible. So those are the last 2 periods of the day. Now moving forward, what's going on here? Sorry, technical difficulty. Okay, there we go. So what do we do when we're not doing a structured activity? Meaning when we're not doing one of those activities, then what do we do? So one thing is we go to meals. We have those obviously 3 times a day. We eat all together in the dining hall. And usually campers they'll talk during meals. We might play music at the end. We'll help clean up all together. So there is something going on, but it's a little bit calmer. We have free time. So twice during the day, we have time for you to do any activity you want in a certain area. This would be rest hour, which we do at the cabins, where you can kind of do what you want in the village space. Or we have Wawa Hangout, which happens before dinner, where we go to the field. And you can play any game you want in that field as long as you stay in that area, and our counselors are there as well. We have daily self-care, so we'll get ready in the morning and we'll get ready for bed at night. And we have 2 times of the day that are kind of blocked off for you to take care of yourself and brush your teeth and take a shower and all of those sorts of things. We have mail time, so we hand out mail once a day in the evening. We'll talk more about how to send mail and how mail is received later on in the slideshow as well. And then also we get to know people. So we spend a lot of time introducing ourselves to other people, learning each other's names, and just bonding and building relationships, because that's all of what camp is about, is just building friendships with new people and having fun with them. So once during the session, we do something really special, which we call the overnight. And the overnight is a camping trip. So we will hike somewhere on camp property out to a campsite, and we'll spend the night there. We'll cook dinner out there, we'll eat s'mores, and then we'll play in the woods and sleep out there as well. So the overnight is one of the best nights of the session, but it can also be a little bit nerve-wracking if you've never gone camping before. So I wanted to talk about the overnight now, so that if you have any fears about it, or if you're a little bit worried about how that might work, you can kind of rest easy knowing that you know a little bit more about this. So first, if you're nervous about things like bugs or bears, that's totally normal. What we do when we go out to the overnight is we make sure that everybody feels prepared, that they know how to keep themselves safe in the woods. So we'll talk about how to hike all together. We'll talk about how to, if we encounter an animal, how to stay safe by sticking together as a group and making ourselves really big to maybe scare off any critters that might come by. And then we'll also talk about things like bugs, like if you want to put your socks over your pants so that you don't have any bugs that go into your pants and things like that. Now, this isn't anything to make you feel nervous, because it's totally safe to be outside. But this is just to help you feel safe. So if you know that you don't like bugs being near you, there are things that we can do to help you feel protected from them. So I always say with the overnight, there are tons of things that might feel nerve-wracking, that once you know how to keep yourself safe from them, you can have even more fun at the overnight. So if you can think of some of those things in advance, definitely feel free to ask me or ask your counselors while you're at camp, so we can help you feel more confident. When I was a camper, I grew up going camping, and I was still super nervous for the overnight because I had never slept outside of a tent. And so I can say that there are a bunch of things that we do to make sure that all of our campers feel safe. Like if it's going to rain, we might put up tarps, or we make sure to sleep all together in one space. That can make campers feel a little bit more comfortable. So if you're nervous about that as well, feel free to ask. All right, so moving on. Oops, sorry, I forgot that one. Yeah, just kind of explains a little bit more about what I talked about, but we cook over a fire, sleep under the stars, and it's one night long. Okay, great. So one time during the session that our schedule does change a little bit is the weekend. So on the weekend, on Saturday, we usually do a theme day. And a theme day might be something like a video games in real life theme day, or one session we did let me think of some examples. We did a traffic jam theme day where people, made traffic jams all over camp. I think it's hard to explain it in words, but we come up with a goofy theme and then we base all of our activities for that day around the theme. We also love themes based on movies where we'll pretend that we're in that movie and then act it out throughout the whole day. So this is also always a fun day. And then the next day is Sunday. And on Sunday, we kind of sleep in a little bit and we actually have brunch. It's a super special meal. You can see them eating some ice cream and waffles in the top right corner. That's always what we eat during Sunday brunch. It's delicious. It's the best meal of the session. And then in the afternoon, we do an all camp day. So all camp means that everybody that's in main camp at Frost Valley will come together and we'll do a really big activity together. This changes every session, so it's different based on when you're coming to camp, but this might be something like a big carnival or a concert or fair that we put on at camp, and it's always really fun. Awesome, so let's talk a little bit about how to pack for camp. So this packing list is on our website. You can find it under the camp forms section there. If you're having any trouble finding it, feel free to send me an email and I'll send you the direct link. The packing list you can think of as a guide, so you don't have to follow the numbers exactly. And you're of course welcome to add things that you think that you might need or take away something that you think you might need as much of or anything like that. But I have a few tips about how to pack in a way that might help you while you're here. So first, I always recommend to pick out some clothes or at least have a few options that you feel comfortable getting messy. So for example, when we're hiking on the overnight, you will want to wear something that you're comfortable getting some dirt on because we will be hiking in the woods and sleeping outside. We also sometimes like to do activities where we might get messy, like muddy slip and slide or something like that. And so it's good to have some clothes that you can wear that in and not worry about too much. I also recommend if you're bringing stuff that you do really like, or if you're worried about losing things, to label your clothes. So you could write your initials in Sharpie. Some people will print out labels and put them on the tags, whatever works best for you, but just some ways that you know what's yours at camp in case it gets mixed up with other people's belongings. Next, I recommend to bring some games or things that you like, especially if you have things that you know that you like to do when you have a little bit of free time in your bed. So for example, if you like to read at night or if you like to play games with your friends and you're having quiet time, those are great things to bring because like I said, we have rest hour where we hang out in the cabin or outside, and those are always fun things to play. And then last but not least, if you know that you sometimes forget things when you go places or have trouble packing up at the end, I always recommend if you've written out a packing list to keep it with you during the summer so that when you're packing up again, you remember what you brought with you to camp and you can use that to pack up again. And if you have questions about, what things are required and stuff like that, we do mark with a little asterisk the things that we definitely recommend you bring. The other things are a bit more optional, but yeah, feel free to reach out to me with any specific questions if you're not sure about some items on the packing list. Now, what should you pack it in? So I always recommend soft luggage, things like duffel bags or even, contractor bags for your bedding, those thick trash bags for your bedding, or laundry bags for your bedding is helpful. You can also bring a hard luggage suitcase type of thing. But I recommend if you're able to have a shorter piece of luggage or something that you think could slide under the bed. Our bunk beds are about 10 inches tall. And so any luggage that's closer to 9 inches or under will fit under the bed. And a lot of campers like to tuck their luggage under there after they've unpacked at camp. This isn't required. So if you want to bring a trunk or something like that, you're more than welcome to. But sometimes the softer ones are helpful. Awesome. So now this slide has some kind of small details that are good to know, especially for the parents and guardians in the Zoom call. So first, we have the Camp Docs profile. This is a medical form that we use. If you have any questions about that, this extension is for our wellness center. You can also reach out to me, but I can connect you with them. But that's the direct number for our wellness center if you'd like to call them. Next, for our camp store, I've also put their extension on there. They also have a website on our, they have a page on our website, so you can add money to the camp store account directly through there. But we do have some merchandise that campers can buy at camp while they're here, which is always fun. So you can add money ahead of time so they don't have to bring any cash. Then, if you have any medications that your camper will be taking, I definitely recommend sending those ahead of time. That way we'll be able to give them to them on time on the first day. And then if you'd like to send emails while they're here, which we can print out for them every day, or however often you send them, you can find that link on our website. It's called Connect with Your Camper. We call it Bunk Notes as well. If you want to send them physical mail or packages, this is the address that we use. Since you won't know the village ahead of time, if you are looking to send that package a few days ahead of time, you can just write Camp Wawayanda instead of Campers Village. But if you are sending it after they've already left, then we will have told you their village on check-in day. And then in the packages, we do ask please to not send any food because we try to keep rodents out of the cabin or anything like that. And the way that we do that is just by not keeping any food in our packages. Similarly, for packing, we ask that you don't pack any food or gum or candy or anything like that, just that we can make sure we don't have any animals trying to come into our cabin. Yeah, so for packages, things like small games or books or stickers or anything fun like that is always really great. And then last but not least, we have SmugMug, which is the website that we upload pictures to, so you can keep an eye on your camper while they're here. And then that, of course, is my extension, once again, just in case you want to write it down. Awesome. And then the last bit is we will send out check-in and check-out information. Zach sends out that email a little bit closer to the start of your session. But we always ask that ahead of time, you just prepare a pickup plan just in case anything were to happen, like they are feeling sick or get injured or anything like that. Just that you have some way to come pick them up in case you need to. Awesome. All right, so now what is camp like? What does it feel like? So one thing I always say is camp is really friendly. There's a ton of people to meet and a lot of ways to make friends. And so I always recommend that you come in excited to meet new people and say hi and introduce yourself. Camp is also, let's see, I'm blocking that one. I can't see what it says there. Oh, camp is expressive. Yeah, so we love creative games. We love learning who people are and what they like to do. So feel free to be yourself and show yourself to other people. It's creative, so we love playing new games and unique games and goofy things. It's messy. It's full of nature. We're surrounded by the woods, so it's a really great place to get to know nature a little bit better. And it's an opportunity to try new things. So we have a lot of new fun things to try at camp. You'll get to try them, and it's a great way to learn more about yourself as well. Awesome. So we're going to talk about some frequently asked questions. If I miss your question, like I said, we'll do live questions at the end as well, so don't worry. But these are some of the questions that I hear a lot. So first is, what if I want to talk to somebody at home while I'm at camp? That's a great question. So there are two ways that you can do that. One is you can send a letter physically home. So we have a mailbox that we keep in our dining hall. You can write that letter down on a piece of paper and put it in an envelope, or you can use one of our free postcards that we have at camp and send it that way, and it'll come in a few days home to whatever address you send it to. Or if it feels like it's an emergency and you want to make sure you get that message home quickly, like if you have something that you really want to tell them, or if you ran out of shampoo and you need them to know really quickly, you can always come tell me and I can send that message a little bit faster. Next, what if someone at home needs to get in touch with me? Like, what if something goes wrong? Or, what if they want to tell me that they've changed the way they're going to pick me up at the end of the session? That is totally fine. Like I said, you can reach out to me and I will translate that message, especially if your pickup plan changes. Definitely let us know so we can make sure to get your luggage to the right place. Last, what if I'm feeling homesick? Yeah, this is totally normal. Homesickness does happen sometimes, and we're here to help you with that. So your counselors are the people that you can talk to. You can just say, like, I'm having a bit of a hard time. I'm feeling a little bit sad. Can we go talk for a little bit? And your counselor will talk to you one-on-one and try to help you feel a little bit better or find something that they can do to help cheer you up. Like, for example, if you love playing baseball at home, then maybe they can find a time for you both to go play baseball, or you and the rest of your cabin to go play baseball. What if you hate the food? This is a good question I get all the time. If you're not enjoying the meal that we have served, we do always have other options than the kind of main course. So we always have things like soup and the salad bar and fruit and a sandwich station. But if none of those options are things that you want to eat, we also have a cereal bar as well. But if none of those options are things that you want to eat, you can definitely tell your counselor that you're struggling to find food and they can help you find another option. Or if you're a really picky eater and there are only a few foods that you know that you like to eat, feel free to send me that message ahead of time so I can help our kitchen get prepared to have those things for you. Next, what if I have trouble sleeping? We always have one counselor that's in the cabin. And so if you have trouble sleeping and you want to wake somebody up at night, you can definitely do that. They'll tell you where they're going to be, whether it's in the room, in the cabin, or on the porch. So you can either knock on the door or open the door and just let them know that you're having trouble sleeping and you need a little bit of help. Awesome. So this is about the end of the session. Like I said, we're going to move into live session, so I'm going to close this soon. But thank you so much for coming, and feel free to, if you want to head out during the live session, feel free to, but I'll be around for a little bit longer to answer some live questions. So I'm going to stop sharing now. All right, great. And I will, let's see, let me take a peek in the chat and see if anyone's put questions there.
Well, can I just add one thing real quick? Sorry.
Go ahead, yeah.
So there's the medications. For 90% of our families, we ask that you send it in ahead of time. If there's anyone on this call that's part of our kidney camp program, you need to bring your medications with you. And there should have been directions that have come to you ahead of time by that, but that's just a little bit different. So if you're part of the kidney camp program, you should be bringing your meds with you. So I just wanted to add that piece.
Cool. Thanks. Awesome. Serena, thank you for your question about swimming, instructional swim. We don't do swim lessons at Frost Valley, so all swim is just free play to enjoy the lake. Like I said, we do start with a swim check, but campers don't need to get to a certain level, and we don't offer any structured lessons. When is the camp store open? So the camp store is open after the meal that we eat. So for example, some campers might go all together after lunch on one day, or they might go all together after dinner on one day. But usually a whole village will go together. So you and the people that you spend the most time with will go to the store all together. Should we pack any organizers for things like toiletries? Yeah, I definitely recommend if you have those kind of storage cubes are great. I used to even put stuff in the gallon Ziploc bags, like my socks all in a bag together. It was super helpful and things like that. So if you have those, that's great. Can they bring a Kindle to read? I always say if you feel comfortable with that Kindle coming to camp, and you're not too worried about it getting damaged in case it were to get, dropped off a top bunk or something like that, then you're welcome to. We do ask that no technology connects to Wi-Fi, but campers wouldn't have access to Wi-Fi, so that shouldn't be an issue. So yeah, if Kindles are the way you like to read, feel free to bring it, but please proceed with caution because a lot of things happen at camp sometimes.
Eliza, there's two that were about that. Do you recommend taking the bus or driving first-time campers?
Great question. Yeah, if you have the ability to drive, I always recommend driving up because that way you can see the counselors and help them get set up in the bunk for the first time and help make their bed if you'd like to. Parents and guardians or whoever drives your camper up is allowed to go up with them to the cabin. So that's always a fun experience for people at home as well.
And then the second one that was about the camp store, do the campers need to do their laundry during camp?
Great question. We don't do laundry during camp, so it is 2 weeks with the same clothes that you bring, which I know seems like a lot, but as much as, you can get prepared for that, it's awesome. And if you have to rewear a shirt or a pair of pants, that's totally fine and super normal for campers. If you're staying for multiple sessions, so for example, if you're staying for 4 weeks total, then we will have laundry in between the sessions, but throughout one session, we don't do any laundry. Can you bring a suitcase, and a school backpack? Absolutely. Are there assigned shower times? Yes, we usually make a shower schedule at the beginning of the session, and people can pick whether they want a morning shower, an afternoon, or a night shower, and we kind of divide up that way. Do boys and girls share a bathroom? So we have bathrooms in the cabin, which is just 1 or 2 bathrooms that are not gendered, but they're in the cabin specifically, so private for the people in that space. And then we have bathrooms that are in other buildings that are either gendered or are single-use bathrooms and not gendered. Great. What else? My brother will be at camp. Will I be able to see him? Yes. So if you have a sibling that is also on main camp, meaning that they're in Mustang, Durango, Camp Wawayanda, Camp Henry Hurd, or Adventure Camp, then we will see each other around. So sometimes people will see each other in passing, or if you're really missing them and you want to go say hi, then tell your counselor because they can definitely find a time to make sure that you cross paths to see each other. And if you're all in Camp Wawayanda together, you'll see each other all the time, or Mustang and Durango, we eat at meals together, and so you can visit each other's tables if you'd like to. How do campers, let's see here. Oh, how many campers in each cabin? We have 8 campers in each cabin. Sometimes we have 9 if we have an extra cot in that cabin for some reason, but typically 8 campers in each cabin. And in terms of bunkmates, if you have a specific bunkmate request, like if you know somebody coming to camp that you want to be in a cabin with, you can either put that on your registration form, or if you've already registered and haven't had a chance to add that yet, you can email me directly and I'll add it to your registration form. That bunkmate would need to be a mutual request. So you and the other person would need to request each other in order for us to be able to make it all work. And if it is a bit of a more complicated cabin mate request, meaning it has more than one person in the request, just send me an email and let me know so we can work it out together. There's always some kind of solution that we can find. Can you bring a Walkman or a Discman? Yeah, so as long as it's some kind of MP3 player that's not a phone, you're more than welcome to bring it. If you have a Walkman that works, that is so cool. I haven't seen a Walkman in forever. That's great. What size sheets should we bring? Oh, good. Zach, you're so quick. That's great. For getting medication there, are you suggesting that we mail it? Zach, do you want to talk more about medications?
Yeah, I can know about medication. So you can mail it, or there's a pharmacy that we work with called Medicine Shop, and you can put the script in there. And what they do is they'll bubble package it for us, and so it's what they need for how many days they're here. When we're done here, I'm gonna put our family handbook in there, and it gives directions about medications in there as well. But it needs to be in the original container that has the prescription in it, so our nurses can work off that and utilize that space. So you can either mail it in ahead of time, or you can have the script go to the medicine shop and then we pick it up.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Awesome. Is there a family visiting day? Unfortunately, we don't have a visiting day. Same thing, unless you're staying for multiple sessions, meaning 4 weeks total. We don't do a visiting day. Just because it's 2 weeks, and so we found that staying in the camp zone is kind of helpful for having an awesome session. Are there chargers for the Kindle? We don't have any chargers that we provide, but we do have outlets at the bed. So if you wanted to bring a clip-on fan or a charger for your MP3 player or e-reader, you can definitely do that. And then what happens when you first arrive? Such a good question, Alice. So when you first get to camp, you will go right up to the cabin. Well, sorry, I should start from the very beginning. So you'll drive into the front gate. You will first start by dropping off your luggage. They'll tell you where your luggage is going to go, and then they'll put it on a truck to drive it up there for you. Then you'll walk up to the dining hall where you'll check into camp, let us know that you're here. You'll meet me or one of the assistant directors that works with me over the summer. And then we'll tell you where your cabin is and where you're going to go to get there. So then you'll walk up to your cabin, you'll meet your counselors, you'll meet your other cabin mates, you'll pick out your bed, you'll meet your luggage there when it arrives and get to make your bed. And usually we like to play some kind of game in the village as well. So people might be outside playing frisbee or soccer or some other kind of game while they wait for everyone to arrive. And then once everyone's here, we start learning each other's names and playing games, and then we go to dinner. So that's what the first day looks like. And then we have opening campfire. Awesome. Oh, great question. Can you explain how the Durango schedule differs? That's such a good question. So the Durango schedule in the afternoon, this is the same for Mustang, we go to the barn to do a riding lesson and a ground lesson. So we're there from after rest hour, which is about 2 p.m. until almost the start of dinner at about 5:15 p.m. And we split our time doing both of those things. Mustang and Durango, for others in the call, are our horse programs. And so in the morning, you'll still do waterfront and a creative camp program. And then that's what your afternoon looks like. And then in the evening, we do evening programs. So the rest is all the same. Awesome. How does it work with EpiPens? Great question. So for any kind of emergency medication, that can be handed off to it will be handed to the counselor to have with the camper. So basically, whichever counselor is directly with that camper, they will hold on to the medication, meaning we'll swap it from counselor to counselor in case one person has to go on a period off or is going to go with a different group. And we make sure that one person is responsible for holding that medication and being close to that camper. And this works for any kind of emergency medication like an inhaler, an EpiPen. Those are the only two I can think of right now. I'm sure there are more emergency medications. Great. Information about the bus pickups and drop-off schedule. Absolutely. Zach, do we have it posted already on our website, or is it not up yet?
Yep, it is on our website. So the family handbook is on our website. I also put it in the chat here just a little bit later. So if you click on that link, that takes you to the family handbook. Along with, you should be receiving an email here in the next day or two that has it on there as well.
Awesome. Cool. Can we put things at the foot of our bed? Absolutely. You can put things wherever there is space that everybody feels comfortable with. But if you've got space at the foot of your bed, by all means, go for it. And if you mean in your bed, then absolutely you can do whatever you'd like to do in that space. No cell phones, correct. Yes, we do ask that you leave cell phones at home. We are a technology-free space. It's one thing that we love about camp. So if you can leave your technology at home, that'd be great. Our cabin's air conditioned. They're not air conditioned. One of the great things about Frost Valley is that we live in the mountains, and so it is pretty cool out here, and we do get some nice breeze. So it doesn't get too hot in the cabins. But if you know that you like a cooler breeze when you're sleeping at night or anything like that, those clip-on fans are awesome. You can plug them in at the outlet next to your bed and kind of clip them to the bunk so that you can have a fan on. And yes, by clip-on, I mean how do I describe it? You can get them from Walmart or Target or Amazon. They have an actual clip on it and then they plug in. There's also battery operated versions if you want, but I've seen most commonly the ones that plug in, and those work pretty well. Yes, there is a space to put up photos and decorations around the bed. You can bring things like painter's tape or masking tape to put that up, works pretty well. And you can, I always recommend that. It's fun to decorate. Let's see here. If you're checking in 2 campers at once, you can definitely go all together to each spot, or some families will send kind of one to each place. It's really up to you and up to your preference. But you can go as a family all together to drop off the first camper and get them settled and then move on to the next spot. Awesome. Let's see here, for other medication that's not prescription, we do still ask you to bring it to our wellness center for 2 reasons. One is that we can make sure that your camper is taking it and taking it properly, and also so that we can make sure that it's safe and stored in a safe location so that other campers who shouldn't be taking that medication aren't taking it. So we ask for even things like vitamins or OTC medications, that those all go to the wellness center.
And then just to add, if it's just a once in a while, they might need it. We have over-the-counter meds, and so there's an over-the-counter med form that you have to fill out with your camp docs. So as long as that's filled out and signed by the doctor that they can take it and they need it, every once in a while, that's a good option. If it's like a Zyrtec that they take daily, just because they, that it helps with allergies, then that's something that you should bring with you or send in ahead of time, as it is a daily med.
Yeah, cool. Is there a specific packing list for Durango? So on the packing list for Mustang and Durango is pretty much identical. The only thing is that we do ask campers to wear jeans or sturdy long pants to the barn. So you want to bring a few extra pairs of those, but we will supply things like riding helmets or any other gear that you might need to ride. And then as well for shoes, a sturdy pair of shoes is great. If you have boots, even better. But if you have a sturdy pair of sneakers that you feel comfortable wearing for any other kind of physical activity like hiking, that's perfect. So you don't need to buy anything special for that if you don't want to, but you can buy boots if you'd like. Are you allowed to bring tape? Absolutely. I recommend the painter's tape or masking tape is great just so it doesn't rip up the wall. Can you bring your own sports equipment? Things like a baseball bat or helmet, glove, or basketball, football. We do ask that you leave your own sports equipment at camp. We'll have sports equipment for you here. We don't want your items to get lost or damaged or anything like that. We have a lot of it here, so we do ask that you leave those at home. Are campers given a point of contact for issues like setting boundaries and things like that? That is a great question. Yes, absolutely. So your counselors are always your first point of contact for any issues that come up. And on the first night of camp, we always start by setting some boundaries and expectations all together. So you and your cabin will sit down together and kind of talk about what you like in a cabin space or in a shared space and what you want to see from each other and what you need to have a really fun time at camp. And then if there's any times where you feel like that's not being respected, or you want to add something, or you just want to talk about something that's happened that hurt your feelings, your counselors are always people to go to. Now, if they're not helping you, or if you feel like you want to talk about something that they have done, then you can always go to your village coordinator, who you'll know and meet. They'll live near you, or you can come to me or one of my assistant directors. And like I said, we're always at meals or walking around at camp. Are the cabins co-ed? No, none of our cabins are co-ed. We do have a co-ed village this year, which is going to be for sessions 1 and 2 for campers entering the grades 5 through 7. It's called Bear Pen. I'm going to send out the information one more time. I sent out an email about it probably a few months back at this point. So if you registered recently and you didn't get that email, I'm going to be sending out another one if you're interested. But the cabins themselves are still gendered. It's the village overall. Great. Let's see here. Are the shower stalls private? Yes, we have, each bathroom is its own bathroom, and it's not, you know, a big room of shower stalls. So you'd be showering on your own in the bathroom by yourself. How late can you stay up and when you have to wake up? That's a great question. So bedtime depends on the age of the group. So our youngest campers usually go to bed around 9 p.m. And some of our older campers, meaning our campers going into the 7th grade, might go to bed around 10 p.m. Now, before bed, we always have reflection time, which is a calm activity to unwind from the day. So if you get tired a little bit earlier than that, that's totally fine. You can go to bed earlier if you'd like. But that's usually our bedtime. And then for waking up, it depends kind of on how long it takes the group to get ready in the morning. But I would say sometime between 7:15 and 7:25 is usually when we wake up. And then for melatonin gummies, totally fine. But just like we were saying about the other meds, we do ask that that goes to the wellness center as well. Are there regular tick checks? Great question. So on the first day of camp, we teach our campers how to do their own tick checks. I always recommend doing a tick check in the shower. If you want to practice when you're at home, that's a great thing to start doing. A tick is a small bug, and when the reason that we want to check for ticks is because if a tick were to bite you, they might be carrying a disease that could make you feel sick after. And so we want to make sure that if you have a tick on you, that we can take it off. And so what you want to do is when you're taking a shower, I do what I call the tick check dance, where you check all parts of your body. So you want to start this way, look up your arms and legs, turn them the other way, look around. And that's usually how we do tick checks at camp. And if you are not sure about how it's working, we will teach you on the first day of camp, or you can also look it up ahead of time so you can practice. But you want to do a tick check every single day when you take your shower. Great question. Do we have a lefty glove and lefty equipment? Such a good question. We don't play a lot of baseball specifically. And so I'm not sure if we do have a lefty glove, but I can check on that. But typically what we would do is play something like s'mores ball or kickball, because we tend to shy away from competitive games and do more goofy games or things where, there's a different objective other than just winning the sport. And so that's why we don't have many baseball gloves and things like that.
Yeah, and if I could add to that, so the American Camp Association, anything that would require like protective gear. So if we played baseball, you need to wear a helmet and things like that. Is considered a specialized activity and then needs certain checks of all of those equipment. So that's what we say, leave all of your equipment at home, because if there's anything that would be considered a specialized equipment, so a baseball bat or things like that, there'd have to be daily checks on it. And so we don't do baseball specifically. We might play wiffle ball or something like that. Same with lacrosse, like a lacrosse stick. If it's that'd be considered a specialized activity because there might be certain gear that is specific for it. So we don't necessarily have those things that we run, but then we also ask you not to bring it to camp because of how American Camp Association recognizes those activities.
Awesome, thank you. Great. Do we have lacrosse sticks? Kind of the same conversation. We actually don't have any lacrosse sticks here. So yeah, we don't have those to play with, unfortunately. Next, my son loves to draw. I'm assuming there's no art supplies. Assuming there are art supplies. Yes, we do have art supplies, but if you know you love to draw like before you go to sleep, or you might want to draw during rest hour, I would totally recommend bringing some supplies with you. But we will do some arts and crafts activities that you can choose to do or sign up for. But yeah, feel free to bring your own art supplies activities if you'd like. And then, can you take regular melatonin? Yes, you absolutely can take melatonin in any form, but same thing, it would have to go to the wellness center, which I know can be a little bit tricky with melatonin. We do try to make sure that campers go kind of the last thing before they go up to their cabin for bed, just because we do need it to come from one of our medical staff. So, awesome. Great. Any other questions that people have on their minds? Go ahead, Lila.
Yeah, my question was, what time would you go to the nurse? Like to the thing?
Mm-hmm. So you would go to the nurse at whatever time you need your medication. So our most popular times are before breakfast and after your evening program. But if you needed a medication after lunch or after every meal, then you could go then as well. You would have your counselor walk you over. And what would happen is you would tell the wellness center, this is the time my medication, and then we would make sure to bring you then to the wellness center during that time so you can get it. Okay, awesome. What different sports do we have for campers to play with? During our free time, the most popular sports are gaga, basketball, tetherball, soccer, and what else do we like to play with? Frisbee, and then a few other, random things people will come up with. Carpet ball is a big one as well. We have carpet ball stands there, which is sort of like, how do I describe carpet ball? Almost like pool, but you roll it, I guess. And then other than that, we play a lot of, creative camp games. So things that might not be a kind of official sport outside of camp that we play a lot. But those are our most common ones. Great. Let's see here. Is your village the group that you do all our activities with? Yes. So the village will share a schedule overall. Like I said, there are some times during that schedule where people will go to different places. Like if they are choosing activity or going to a specialty, you might go with a different group of people. But it's usually within the village or with another village or something like that. Awesome. Any other questions?
Eliza.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is Heather. Cell phones, I'm sorry, I stepped away for a minute.
That's okay.
Mobile phones, cell phones, they're basically not permitted, or are they?
Yeah, we do ask that you leave cell phones at home. We don't
Okay.
have any cell phone reception here or Wi-Fi for our
Ah.
campers, and we're a technology-free space. So we ask you leave those at home.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Cool. Do we play volleyball? We do have a volleyball net, actually. It's not played as often, it's not as common, but we definitely do have times to play volleyball, particularly during waterfront. I think we could make that happen. And so if you want to play volleyball, let your counselors know. We could definitely find a time to organize some volleyball, because we do have the net. It's a little bit underutilized, so we should find some time to do that. That would be so fun. Great. Anything else? Lila, do you have another question?
Would we ever do like the flying squirrel or flying fish thing?
Great question. Yeah, so what Lila's talking about is a ropes element, which means you'd get in a harness, you'd get clipped to something, and you get pulled up in the air. So I would call it the flying squirrel or flying fish. And yes, that could be some
class. We did it with
cool.
class when we took a field trip.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. And yes, you might do that. Usually what groups will do is they'll do one ropes element during their session, which would either be the climbing tower or the flying squirrel or flying fish. So one of those three things you'll try. And I see Allison Irvin, you've got your hand up. What's your question?
Hi, Eliza.
Hey.
See, I had two questions, but I forgot one of them. Can you say what the waterfront activities are? Is it just swimming, or are there other, is it like a slide or boating or?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're at the waterfront, you can choose to either swim, boat, play on the beach, or play gaga. And so when you're swimming, there's a shallow section that goes up to about probably your knees or maybe your hips at the deepest part. There's a middle section and there's a deep section. And then we have a trampoline and we have an inflatable slide. So there's a few different options in the swimming section. And on the beach, we have sand toys, or people will like to play cards by the rocks and things like that. And then for boating, we've got a ton of different boats, like a stand-up paddleboard or a pedal boat or a rowboat or a kayak or a canoe. So you can choose that. And then gaga is always very popular. So there's always some kind of gaga tournament going on.
And do you have to be a certain level of swimmer to do the trampoline or the slide?
Yes. So for the trampoline, we sort the levels into yellow, blue, and green. So yellow means you're not feeling super confident, so you want to stay in the shallower parts. A blue means you're feeling pretty confident, but not treading water confident. So you can swim well, but you don't want to tread. Then you can do the trampoline. And if you feel comfortable swimming and treading, then you can do the slide and the trampoline and all the sections as well. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, Uma, the flying fish is awesome. I'm very excited for you to do it as well. Hope you get a chance to do that. Awesome. Will counselors help campers put sunscreen? Absolutely, yeah. So our counselors do reminders, and if any campers need help, we definitely will help people put their sunscreen on. Always recommend bringing some, and our counselors usually would carry some around as well. Cool.
It's very interesting, but please make sure on the OTC that you say that they can put on sunscreen. I don't know why New York State does this, but it has they consider sunscreen an over-the-counter bit. So please make sure that's filled out so we can do it. So we put it.
Cool. And for family camp, I am usually around, let's see, June 2nd to 4th. Yes, I will absolutely be around. Let me see I think that weekend I will be doing a couple
starting
things
training.
around camp. So yeah, you'll see me there. Oh yes, we'll be starting staff training. So you'll see me around at meals and things like that. We can definitely find each other and say hi. That'd be great. So I'm excited to see you soon. Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, this has been so fun. Any last call for questions? Let's see here. Yeah, so for the swim check, you would want to swim. Let's see, I'm a bad judge of distance. I would say imagine a lap in a pool. So there and back, you'd want to swim and then tread water for 2 minutes. It's probably shorter than a standard pool size, but maybe one section of a pool, you'd want to swim from one end to the other and then tread water for 2 minutes. And that's about what our swim check is like. And the flying squirrel and flying fish are exactly the same. We just have 2 of the same element. That's why we have 2 different names for it. And then we will send out the time for check-ins. We usually do a schedule that varies between 1 p.m. and about 3 p.m. Right? Yeah, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. So we'll send out the exact times this year in case we adjust them a little bit, but you can expect sometime around there. Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming. This has been so fun. If there are any questions that you think of after or that I didn't get a chance to answer, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'm so incredibly excited to have you all here this summer. And we're going to have so much fun. So if you have any questions or need anything else to prepare, please let me know. But I can't wait to see you all soon. Have so much fun. Stay safe. And I'll see you all this summer. Bye. You're so welcome. Thanks for coming.